Well, a very warm welcome, ladies and gents, and welcome back once again to the Humble Climb podcast. Thank you so much for, again, tuning in, showing us so much love, subscribing, commenting, liking, and everything that it is. We're continuing to grow, and I'm absolutely loving it. I've got to start off by saying a massive, massive thank you to the people that are helping making this happen, starting from obviously Marissa at Gigi Hair and Kids down in Berkeley Street. So a big, big thanks to Marissa. If you need your hair cut, blowaway, straightened, foiled, you name it, go and see Marissa, and even your kids. So might be a good one for you, Sherien, with your two little ones.
Absolutely. And just for myself, I think.
Yeah, I can get you a free blowaway. That's fine. I've got connections there. B&A Car and Truck Repairs, they're doing amazing things with James and Ava today. This weekend they're off to Ipswich, so they're always travelling, so a big thank you. Medical Aesthetic and Renew Skin Clinics, the absolute best when it comes to skin revitalization.
I need them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Well, my mum goes and sees one of the goats there. Her name's Zena. So if you ever need something around the forehead lines.
What are you trying to say here?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just trying to say that the time might come.
I like you.
Not that you need it yet. So make sure you please go and see Medical Aesthetic and obviously Renew Skin Clinics. Their logos are all down the bottom banner. Tama, the DJ for all your events. He's fantastic at what he does. Great source of music. So make sure you continue to get involved with him. Wall-to-wall prints, they're amazing. So obviously you've got have you got a gymnastic background or any sports background or anything, Sherien?
Definitely not. Why would you say that?
Well, just reason being. Well, it's more the fact of that if you do have anything, you want to get like a jersey onto a nice frame or something hanging in the house, go and see James from Wall-to-Wall Prints.
Birthday.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So James is amazing. They're just based locally in Cheltenham, which is amazing. And you're going to have some treats to take home after today for your kids. They're going to love it. The Bonza snowballs, they're incredible. This one here is the marshmallow coconut and soft chocolate coating, and then obviously this one here is your marshmallow sherbet. They're fantastic. I'm on a bit of a health kick at the moment. You might not think, but I am. So you guys are going to take these home. The kids are going to love them after school.
I don't know if it's going to make it to the kids,
They're fantastic. So you're going to love them. So a big thank you to everyone for continuing to get around us the way that they do. And I've got to give also a shout out as well. And please keep this in the video. Is Braden that's sitting to my left. He's amazing at what he does, and I can't thank him enough. So your support's always incredible. And today's a bit of a different episode. We've got a friend of mine on. Her name's Sherien.
Yes.
I don't know the surname though.
You don't need to know the surname.
Sherien's a friend.
Sherien Wissa.
Sherien Wissa. She is an awesome friend of mine. We've sort of, I'd almost say, reconnected through the local coffee shop down here in Oakley. Yes. And a mutual friend of ours, Nick Katsakis, who put us in touch with one another and said, hey, I think you guys have got some really cool things in common with what you're both wanting to do on your podcast space. And a bit of a different one. Sherien came to me with the idea of, hey, Dim, maybe it might be an idea to interview you. Yeah. So roles were reversing a little bit. So
love a good role reversal.
Yeah, it's changing up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to change up. So it's I'm on the other hand today, so I'm not so much the host. I'd almost call it Sherien Takes Over.
I love it.
The Humble Climb, which is cool. So a massive, massive welcome to Sherien. Thank you for coming on.
No, definitely. Thank you. And you know what's been so amazing, because I have listened to your podcasts, and what's been cool is that, you know, throughout your podcast, there are like little pockets of Dimmy that we learn about. And I'm like, I really want to know a little bit more about that, or a little bit more about that. And you don't really give enough there. So that's why I thought it would be so good to have this conversation so we can really understand who you are and what you come with, who you represent, all of that.
I love it. I think it'll be cool. Obviously, I've given a little snippet at the start before we started the Humble Climb. That went for about 13 odd minutes. And that was just a little brief synopsis, but you can never summarize your life in 13 minutes or 14 minutes. So I was certainly open to it. It did take me some time to think about it, because obviously I'm a bit of a guarded person, but at the same time I thought, let's do it. Why not? What have I got to hide? So I've told you very clearly, nothing's off limits. So I guess I pass the baton on to you, and you do your thing, Sherien.
What an honor.
The Egyptian queen, I call her.
I'll definitely take that. But I'll just start firstly by saying it is a absolute honor, like, to be in this space, to be able to interview you. I have so much respect for you. And, you know, before coming on here, because one of the things about podcasts, right, is that, you know, you've got to go and do your research on the person. So here I am down Eaton Mall in Oakley, and I'm like, let me slag this guy out, right? Let me go out there and go, oh my God, do you know what? I just bumped into Dimmy. He's such an idiot, huh? What do you reckon of him? And, you know, they're like, what? Dimmy from Buxton, Dimmy. And I'm like, yeah. He's I meant to do a podcast with him. I really don't want to do it. And, consistently every single person said the same amazing things about you. And nobody bit. There was no bites to that. And everyone was just like, oh my God, he's such a pure soul.
It's all
He's got, I know, huh? No, but it was really beautiful, just the consistency of who you are in the community and what people think of you. And you're just so, nobody knows whether you're having a shit day or a good day. And I don't know whether that's a great thing or not, but, you've always got this energy about you that is just so calming, so caring, so charismatic, and people are just drawn to you. So
I cried last week. I got him off again. And sorry for the swearing language.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, swearing's off limits?
I try. You know what it is? I'm just trying to myself as a person. I just trying to, that's all. I'm always trying to get better.
Yeah. Why are you always trying to get better?
I'm always trying to get better. I think, one, the world's changing. So I probably have I'd almost say a politically correctness about myself, that I don't want to give off the wrong vibe to someone. But also I guess it's probably me just being authentic as well. So I probably am in a stage now where if you had asked me to do this podcast 5 years ago, I would have said no. When I first started thinking about it was 2-3 years ago. But again, I wasn't fully immersed in it. I think I always need to try and get better.
Yeah.
That's all. I think as a people, we can always get better. We can improve. We can learn. One of the biggest things that's always a stumbling block for me, and my closest family and friends will know it, is that I really, really struggle to let go of past mistakes that I've made. I really, really, really struggle to let go of that.
Can I ask you a question on this? Why is it important for you to hold on to past mistakes?
I think I try and keep them myself as a guarding tool so that I don't do them again. I'm not the type realistically that I can just look at something and think, I shouldn't have done that. I should be better and move on. I do have a lot of, I'd almost say I probably punish myself to a degree of not doing that same thing again. So whatever it might be, if it might be, let's just say, you get into an argument with someone at work, which hasn't happened, but I'm just saying as an example, let's say we've had an argument with someone at work, or you've spoken to someone in a crude way that, you didn't take into account how they might be feeling on that day. Or I've had an argument, and I talk it often. I had an argument last week with mum, classic example. We had an argument last week with mum, and, for me as a human, I was just having a shitty day, and I probably went a bit further than what I needed to. So little things like that, I guess, is that for me, you take that adrenaline rush and then you think, shit, like I shouldn't have peaked like that. Not that I peak, but you get what I'm saying.
I do.
So I just try and safeguard my things on that style.
So important, because like you're 29, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you're 29.
30 in 2 weeks.
Woo!
Yeah.
Really?
30 in 2 weeks.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about that in a little bit, because that's huge. That's massive. It's a big, going from like your 20s to your 30s
is 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks, sorry.
What date is it? What date's your birthday?
7th of July.
Oh, okay. Yep. 7/7.
I'm a Cancer, yeah.
I don't know what that means. I don't do the star sign
Neither
thing.
do I, but all I know is that a lot of Cancers are very sensitive.
Okay. But do you put these labels, like, so someone says, for example, someone who's Cancer is sensitive. Do you then go, oh, that's me. I must be sensitive. I'm going to classify myself as being sensitive.
Look, probably not as much because I'm so into my faith.
Yes.
So probably not, I'm not I used to read the horoscope as an example. So probably not as much anymore. I just know it's like more of a background thing that, Cancers are known to be sensitive. But I own it. I'm like, yeah man, I cry. I cry. I'm 100% sensitive. Like, there is not even a joke about that. Now, whether that's a Cancer thing or it's just me as a person, which I think it's probably me as a person, great. But yeah, probably more with my faith stuff that I'm aligned with, and how much I respect my faith is why I probably don't look into it as much, I would say.
What was the last thing you cried about?
I had a bit of a tear last week with the Ebony stuff, but before that, I actually cried pretty heavily when I was in Greece last year. And I was driving to dinner, and I remember this day actually. I was driving to dinner, thinking about my grandparents and the trip that they made from Greece to Australia and the life that they sort of helped set up. So, yeah, that was a pretty big cry, that one there. So, yeah, I can cry. Like, there's no doubt. Sometimes if I need to get it out but I can't, I'll put on like a Delta Goodrum. Or like there's this, have you ever heard of this Cascader? Every time we touch, slow version on YouTube. Yes. Yeah, the slow version gets me.
So you want to cry? Do you find it therapeutic?
If I feel like it's more if I feel like it's bubbling away. Like if it's bubbling away in the surface but I just can't get it out.
Yeah.
I'll see you later, I'm out. Like that's it. I'll put on Delta Goodrum or Cascade every time we touch slow version. My heart will go on, Celine Dion. Yeah, I've got a whole.
I love that you're admitting to this.
Yeah, 100% own it. Own it. Absolutely. If you don't own it, like I just don't. I think we try and construct this view of the world. Like I love social media because I love social media. What I hate about social media is the pretentiousness of it. I hate that it doesn't that people feel the need to not provide this realness and authentic platform of how they're feeling. I mean, we might see a celeb as an example that is struggling after giving birth to a child. Awesome. Love it. It's so real. It's authentic. But the majority of stuff is all, I'm at this restaurant. And look, I fall to that as well. Let's be honest. Like if I go, I love eating food, obviously, but I love going to a nice restaurant. So if I put it up, I don't put it up for people's satisfaction. I put it up because I'm just like, well, man, I enjoy it. I'm a foodie. But for me, it's about being authentic. Like I don't care. I genuinely could not care who thinks what of me. And it probably got to a point with the real estate competitiveness. So I'm probably going a bit off track, but
I'm going to pull you back.
Yeah, you're going to pull me back. But what I wanted to say was I always used to be scared about saying what I wanted to say or be me, hypothetically on this podcast, in case a real estate competitor might choose to use that against me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And that's a real thing in this world, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. So for me, it's like if I had to go, if someone was to try to do that, I'm like, man, cool. You do you. Like, if that's the best you've got, awesome. Like, whereas probably 2 years ago, I don't want competitors knowing that X, Y, and Z. And I'm just talking as a pure person here. So I want to be able to be as open and honest, but the effect that it's actually had has been completely opposite. So I don't know what other people are saying out there, but I don't care because the people that know me, or the people that I've built relationships with, or the clients are like, man, good on you for opening up the way you have. Like, that's awesome. So it's sort of gone the other way. So that's probably where it is now, that I just don't care anymore. Not that I don't care, but I don't care what people think.
Yeah. And that is the way to be authentic. I just want to go back a second because you spoke about social media, right? And that, it's a blessing, but then it's also like a bit of a curse because you go on and you see the best of the best of everybody. But you know what? What I find really interesting, and I've really thought about this, is we've put this label on social media to have a thread of authenticity. And there are people that come into it that you'll see that, you see some real stuff, but majority of it is not real. And so why have we put this definition or this, I guess, this label on it that it is meant to be authentic. It's meant to be real because, as you said, like everyone's putting the best of the best. To me, social media is a perception. 100%. It's just a perception of the best part of what you want people to see. It's a business model. It's beautiful in what it's created to be, but you are not going to get an unfiltered photo of somebody and go and see the same person out in the street and it's going to be the same person. You know what's funny? The other day I was walking through this, I was going to visit my dad and I was walking through the cemetery and I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, do you know what's interesting? In 50 years' time, I wonder if there's going to be, the photos on
the tombs.
On tombs, will they be filtered photos? Will they be like social media with butterflies? And
Yeah, pretty scary to think.
isn't it?
Snapchat filter.
Yeah, a Snapchat filter on a cemetery. Like,
I've done the one of like the puppy of myself. Like every time I open my mouth, like, you know, the one on Snapchat where the tongue comes out. Like,
yeah. Anyway, that's
tough. It's crazy.
It is.
And that's what for me is just, again, some people, like when I first did this podcast, some people I think were like, oh, here we go, Dimmy's doing a podcast. And I was like, I knew I was going to get that reaction. I didn't care.
Why do you think people said that?
Oh, I know there's always there's always that people. There's always that level of people. I think people always, and this is not what I think, my closest people are always going to be genuinely happy for me, as I am for them. But there's always going to be an external noise. And what I mean by that, the people well out of the circle.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, oh, they're doing a podcast, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. I don't know. I just think people always want you to be happy, but not happier than them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
And as people, we can be the first, I think, to put each other down. So I wanted to create this platform that people that are everyday people that a lot of people don't even know that they can take some comfort or some strength from their stories. So that was the point of the podcast. As to the growing part and all that type of stuff, if we get one YouTube view, amazing. If we get 500, amazing. My output's still the same, regardless. I'll always obviously look at the data and say, okay, well, that one was a bit popular than others, or whatever. But for me, that's what it was. It's like, let's give people an opportunity to share their story.
Yeah.
Because I probably felt growing up to a degree that I remember this one time actually, and I'm just going to
Tell me.
So everything was going down in year 7 and with myself and our family, I should say, everything was going down. And I love soccer. I love soccer. Anyway, I was due to go to the soccer training, and I'll never forget this day. And I couldn't go to the soccer training because certain people at the club probably didn't want to be as associated with me, even though I was a 7-year-old. I was in year 7, but with what was happening to our fam. It was like...
So, and how did they know?
It was just, word makes its way around the community.
Okay, yeah.
So it was more of a safeguard tactic for me not to go as well. So for me, I'm like, I never want to be in that position ever again where I can't go somewhere based on X, Y, and Z, or your family history, or the type of person that you are, or you dealt with this person and it was a shitty business deal, or whatever it is. I just don't want to ever be in that position.
Yeah.
So therefore, it was cool. Let's create a platform where the voiceless, where the people can share their story or share their voice on a platform. Now, this is not Joe Rogan, but
could be one day.
this is not Joe Rogan, but it's not. The point of it is well, as we continue to grow, people like that, they deserve. Every human in this world wants some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
They want to be loved. They want that pat on the back. They want to say they're doing an amazing job. So, if I see someone on the other side of the chair to me that I believe deserves a pat on the back or deserves some form of recognition because of what they're going through and the strength that they're showing, let's do it.
Yeah. And you do it so well. And I love that this is, the direction that you're going in because, you look at, a story like Ebony's last week and it was just so wholesome and it's, that is just such a pure, I guess, example of what you are trying to portray. And it's not about all the labels that people have and how many followers they have and none of that. And, and it's beautiful that I guess the everyday Joe Blow that is going through something is able to feel like they're heard and their stories are being communicated and can help somebody else, But why do you feel like you're the man for the job?
That's a good question, actually. It's probably not so much the man for the job, but it's more if I don't, who will?
So you like to take on that's so you're one of those people that if there was a fire that instead of running away from it, you're going towards it.
Yeah,
to see what. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, probably. I mean, look, it's for me, it's that's all it is. It's if I don't, who will? I get told sometimes by various people that you do an amazing job with the charity stuff and the volunteering and all that type of stuff, but maybe you overgive, right? And I'm like, yeah, cool. I appreciate it. again, for me, the way that I look at it is, if I don't, who will? Who will volunteer their time instead of me?
Have you found that it's burnt you in the past though? Like when you give too much?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I think so. I think not only just that, you burn out as a human as well, though. But I think for me, it's just, I don't know, man. I've been in their position.
Yeah. So this is where the source of energy comes in, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've been in this position. Like I have. I remember exactly the time and the day. Not the time of the day, but I remember what it was like getting food off the church. So for me, it's why not? Like, why can't I help them? Or I see, like, we're doing Georgie's fundraiser at Vanilla in a couple of weeks' time to try and help keep his family home. And background story of that, there's a few issues going on family-wise, and they need to raise 160. Well, why can't I put out to my contacts or my people that I know that have got values like me and that they will give? For me, it's not about being that wanky factor of, oh, that's that guy that always gives. For me, it's my faith comes into it. That's just me. I just think we'll get it back. And that's all it is. So, yeah, I mean, for sure, you get burnt out. But if I don't see anyone. Well, I don't see anyone. There will be other people that will step up. But
can't rely on that though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People just know that I'll be there. I'll have that lunch.
Yeah.
I will make those calls. I'll do that social media post or whatever it is, and I'll push it out to people. Again, on a voluntary basis. I don't want anything back from it.
Yeah.
So, and look, the other thing is as well that where I feel, I guess, rewarded part of it all, if this helps, is I do what I do for work-wise, right? Real estate-wise. I don't want to be just that real estate agent. Real estate will always be my number one priority, and my job will always be my number one priority. So the podcast and this setup and me doing what I do will never overtake that, because that's my bread and butter. So if I'm not listing houses, if I'm not selling houses, hypothetically, I'm not doing myself any justice, because I can't go and help these people then.
So you look at your job as you're helping people, or do you look at it as an income to be able to provide for yourself, for your family?
Both.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. So it's a balance of,
for sure, because I think it'd be so wrong of me to say up here, I only do it just to help people. No, well, no, we all want to buy that house, we all want to buy that car, we all want to go on that holiday.
Yeah.
That's me to a T. I want to do all those things, but I also take it as in, if someone gives me their house to sell, for sure, it helps me financially. Absolutely, I look at that. Then I also look at that as an opportunity that sometimes going to come where someone's going to need some help. Great, I'm in a position where I can help. Not, oh man, here we go, I don't know if I can help you. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got a holiday coming up or whatever it is. So real estate for me is always going to be, or my job for me is always going to be top.
Yep.
Helping everyone and all that just comes naturally, but I want to make sure that I'm in a position to do that. And if I'm not doing well at work, I can't do that.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit, right? If we can go down the timeline, and I want to know, because you know, throughout the podcast, I guess you've shared parts of your story. You've shared about when you were in year 7. You've shared about when you're in year 9. You've shared about, you know, your bonds with certain people in your life. You know, your sister, your mum, your dad. I know you've had, you know, quite a struggling journey with your dad. I want to know, firstly, who has made the biggest impact in your life?
My mum.
Your mum. Why?
Mum for me is the goat. Like, I know everyone thinks that their mums are the goats, but mum, if you're watching goats, true. Or mum, if you're watching goats, is greatest of all time.
Yes.
So don't stress. I'm not actually calling you a goat. Because she would be like, I can't believe you just call me a goat.
I know.
100%. So greatest of all time. No, my mum, or I'd say mum and sister. I'm not going to say mum.
What is it about your mum that has been, and this sister, sorry, that has been the pillar of strength for you?
Well, mum showed me how to do a tie.
Yep.
So she was, my mum's just always been that person for me that I can rely on, cry on, laugh with, annoy, crack it at, have that normal relationship with. And my sister has always been, my my sister's been that person that you could talk to first before mum. In these years, because you think to yourself, okay, I don't want to stress mum out, so I'll speak to my sister. So my sister and my mum and they're like I genuinely have them both tattooed on me.
Beautiful.
So I've got, both their names, which we won't mention, but for them, they are my goats. So I would have always said it was always just my mum, but my bond with my sister is they are my world. The two, so that like nothing will ever, no amount of money, and I laugh about it. No will ever break us apart for me, because if touch wood it ever came to that stage, I'd be like, man, whatever it is. Like, I'm not interested in fighting at all. Like, she is my sister. My sister is strong. Like, she's got a heart. She's a strong exterior, but she's a real marshmallow. But she's the type that will she'll have an argument with you. She'll tell you to get stuffed, but then she might cry after.
Yeah.
Whereas my mum, she's more, she's soft. She doesn't like confrontation.
Yeah.
Not soft, but she doesn't like confrontation. She's a softie. She's like me. I hate confrontation as well. So it's just a balancing act. That's all.
I'm surprised you don't like confrontation.
I actually don't. I'll only do it when I really, really, really have to. Really have to. But I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
Because don't you have to, I guess, in your role as in real estate, wouldn't you have to have quite confrontational conversations?
Look, depends if it's, I don't like, I'm happy to have them, but as long as no hostility.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like the hostility about it for me.
Okay.
I don't want hostility. Not to say that the world lives in a marshmallow and an oyster, but yeah, I don't really enjoy that. I mean, there's been plenty of times where we've had arguments with X, Y, and Z because of whatever reason. Then I'll do what I've got to do to speak up. But I also, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy confrontation.
All right. So going back, so your mum, your sister, your biggest pillars of strength. Now, is that because of the stuff that sort of happened throughout your teenage years? Is that what kind of created this bond, this stronger bond? Because it sounds like it's obviously unconditional love between you all. I've never really believed in unconditional love. I say that there's some grey areas, but I don't. I experience unconditional love between me and my children, but that's because I can control that. But I don't necessarily believe that unconditional love exists even between family members, between children and parents and all of that. So that's another area of conversation. But you can clearly see, like the way you've just described, your mum and your sister, and that, that trio there is like strong as hell.
Yeah, no, we call it the triangle.
Yeah.
I
love that.
Yeah, we call it the triangle. So like for me it's unconditional.
Yeah.
I know the same for them. I think it's more that when you go through trauma, to any degree, and I don't want it to sound like a pity party because everyone goes through their own trauma.
Yeah.
But when you do, you start to you can't replace that. You can't replace that connection. So for me, it's that for sure.
Now, there's so many aspects here. I know in again, a couple of your podcasts, you've spoken about mental health, and you've said, I don't want to go too much into it because you feel like mental health is for the professionals, right?
Yeah.
Only the professionals can talk about it. I really think that it is such an important part of life, which we all know, right? And there's so many aspects to mental health. I'm a believer of, like, once something happens, we then start to, if something goes wrong in our lives, we then start focusing on all the things that can go wrong. So let's say, something at work has gone wrong. Then we go into, you know what? This is also wrong, and this is wrong, and we become victims of our lives. And this is where, the domino effect happens. And, we go into depression, and we go into all these things. It can create a mess. How is your mental health?
Look, I mean, I'm always going to be, you have better days, you have better days, you got worse days.
Yeah.
For me, I love nothing more, and we joke about it as a family, but like, if I need a session, I just text my my psychologist, who's amazing, Gina, and I'm just like, hey, cool, book me in. I just want to have a debrief.
Yeah.
So I'll probably see her once every 3 to 4 weeks. There's been times where you see them once a week.
Yeah.
There's been times where you see them twice in a week.
Yeah.
Like, I've experienced all that. So, for me, it's always work. It's a work in progress. Always. I think you always. I struggled early on with wanting my identity to revolve around me being work. So just to be known as that hard worker, the one that is. I guess my identity was my work, and then quickly realized that it's not. So I had an amazing psychologist through school. That I saw even for up after school for like 15 years. From year 7 to when I saw him, Jeff, he was fantastic. But I just sort of felt that realistically I didn't mind having a fresh voice.
Yeah.
So then Gina came into the picture and she's a goat.
I love that you're talking about that, that you've always had somebody to support you in the in the mental health field, right? And especially, this is the research that I've done is in terms of, men going to seek help, the label on that is weakness, and what you can't deal with your problems yourself, like what you need to, go and see somebody to help you. Yeah. And I love that, it's slowly starting to break. I can see there are cracks and there are people that now will say, yeah, I go see my psych and, there's like a proud label that's put on that, which is amazing because I cannot wait. When my son's 7 now, like when he gets older, I really pray that there are so many avenues for him that, he doesn't have to suffer in silence,
100%.
And obviously we all know, the suicide rate in men is a lot higher than in women, and women have a bit more of a, they feel like they can go and be a bit more vulnerable, whereas men cannot. And I think this is so important that you're speaking about it and, considering what you have gone through, that you're still able to, hand on heart say, I am not perfect. Yes, I might walk down Eaton Mall with a smile on my face and have this amazing energy.
Rooster.
Yeah. Right. But you will still, be vulnerable enough to say, on a public platform, then I go see a psychologist
100%.
and I need help and, when I'm down and, all of that sort of stuff. And I think that narrative is just so damn important. And you're obviously bringing this out in this platform with the Humble Climb. And it is about, definitely these stories that are, that have gone through hardship and people have, learned these amazing lessons in life and changed the direction of their life. But I think the work that you're doing is just so life-changing for so many people. I'm getting emotional talking about it.
I was like, man.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional talking about it because I think, like, if I could go back to, when my dad was here, my dad suffered in silence a lot. And, and I wish that it was a different dialogue for them, our older, the older generation.
The best generation.
The most amazing generation. I know. And I just wish that platform, there was something for them. Because I know if my dad was sitting here, the things that would come out of his mouth, he'd still try and be strong and hardcore, but,
they always do,
yeah, that's it.
They always do. I think you need to. I was literally, last year when I was in Greece, and I try to go to Greece every year, so it's no secret. I try to go 3 to 4 weeks every year.
Yeah.
For me, I've got my family back there. I want to go every year. So, but it was no secret. Last year I was FaceTiming with her. We were Zooming, and I was in Greece. I didn't It's you make of it what you do. Even here when I'm at work, I'll be like, guys, I'm having a Zoom session. Everyone knows what that means. This stigma from people of, oh, mate, I don't, let's not talk about it. I couldn't tell you the amount of people that have reached out. I could count them on one hand, realistically. But since I started this platform and we're like, hey, man, I'm looking to, how do I go about seeing a psych? What do I do?
I love
I'm like,
that.
Cool, man, awesome. Let's go see your GP, get a mental health care plan. I would have at least 5 since I've started in January.
Oh.
So, and they're not just all men. It's a mixture. So, awesome, cool. For me, it's about what can you, there's someone that's listened, obviously, they've taken on whatever. I'm not preaching anything. I'm just saying that, hey, look, man, I've had my struggles with this. this person or that helps me. And I'm not saying it's going to be, some people won't relate to my psychologist the way that I relate. You might need to find that person. Sometimes it's trial and error.
Yeah. So what is it about? Like, so what would be your advice?
We're playing footsies under
I know. So what would be your advice to somebody who is just really struggling at the moment? They're like, fuck, sorry.
That's right. You can swear, I just can't.
Okay. That I think it's time for me to go see someone, because most men will only do it, and this is such a generalized statement, but most men will only do it when they're desperate.
Yeah, you make an appointment with a GP. Yeah. Don't make a phone appointment, because then it's a mental health care plan. They want to see you face to face.
Yeah.
So when you make the appointment over the phone, say, hey, look, I need here for a mental health care plan. I think they block out 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know what they do. Explain what you're there for. Have an open dialogue with that particular doctor.
Yeah.
I think some people want to be guarded about what they tell their doctor. I don't understand that. For me, I get that you might look, but I've probably been a patient of others for longer, so I understand that I'm just open book. And my GP knows everything about me. My psych knows everything about me. They know more about me than what my mum would.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And and I think that's really cool, because you're now in that habit of going, I don't care what people think. So then you are able to be an open book.
100%.
But a lot of people are just in that stage of going, like, for them to even go, oh, fuck, I might need help. That on its own is such a vulnerable space.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's about like, we all want to cover up for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I get it. Some people are more, like my GP comes in, I'm like, Doc, how are you, man? Like, that's me though. I'm sure not everybody could get away with talking with him like that, but he just knows what my personality's like. He just knows that I like to have fun. I'm a bit cheeky, whatever. Like we just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just because you're seeing a doctor or because you're seeing a psychologist, it's not a white suit.
Yeah, and it's still human.
Exactly. like man, I couldn't tell you. Like, obviously, I won't swear on this platform, but forget about it. Like, I'm on.
Let loose.
Like, I'm letting out my emotions. So, but there's been heaps of times, like, even if it's just knocking on my sister's door, to be like, or messaging and saying, hey, look, I want to come around, I want to have a chat. She's like, yep, cool. And then I get there and I'm like, what am I doing here? I shouldn't say it. I shouldn't talk about what I'm feeling about. Then I'm like, you know what? It's my sister. And off we go. And we just talk it out.
Yeah.
So there's so many different avenues that where it is. So, and you find the people. There's certain people that are going to understand mental health more than others.
Yeah.
I've got certain friends in my life. They are some of my really great friends, but they wouldn't realistically understand the mental health side of things to me as what others would.
That's it. And do you know what? Differentiating those people is so damn important, because we put this label on a friendship and we go, yep, because they're our friend, I should be able to talk to them about everything. I should be able to, they should be able to understand me. They should be able to, we have all these rules. But, realistically, like I was saying before we started this podcast, I personally believe everybody does the best with what they can. Right? And what they know how. And so going and talking to a friend and saying what's going on for you is, it's great, but it's not always a safe space. And the other person doesn't always know what to do with that information.
100%. Not everyone's equipped.
No, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, I don't say that I don't speak to certain friends about it because they can't handle it. It's because they just haven't had as much experience in it. And I'm glad. I wish I could be in their position, so I don't judge that. It's more that, like, I look at hypothetically, if I can talk about my mate Fletch, who's one of my best mates. We talk very often. We don't see each other as often because he's on the other side of town. But he, I remember when I first saw him at a soccer game that I was playing indoor soccer, and I was just an absolute mess. This is going back 8 years now, though. Yeah, and he was coming from the other side of town because he used to play footy for the Bulldogs. And he was leaving training late at night, and he came past to watch us play soccer. We were playing at Albert Park, and I was just a real mess. If inside, I just felt like shit.
Yeah.
And Fletch walked in the door, and I'll never forget this. He wouldn't remember it, but I'll never forget it. Is that he walked in the door, I just ran up to him crying.
Oh.
Because I felt like that person was there.
Wow.
And still to this day, like I can talk to him about things. Like I had his 30th last weekend. We don't see each other as often because he's in Maribyrnong, but we'll speak as often as we need to.
Those friends, they're gems.
And then I've got my other mate, one of my other best mates, Nick, who we went to, we started off with prep together. We're still best mates to his day. I also had his 30th last weekend. And we talk, we see each other, I'm going to say 8-9 times a year. Wow. So not crazy amount.
Yeah.
But we speak 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh,
we're just both busy. But our phone calls can go from 10 minutes to an hour. And we're both talking about, we just talk, right? And yeah, I mean, that's the stuff that for me, I love because we resonate together.
Well, you know, there is a theme through every single thing that you say, which is about authenticity.
100%.
Right? And like the people that you attract into your life, you've got, you know, some solid pillars there and all of it is based on authenticity, which is, you know, beautiful.
I think you need to because like, you know, and it might be you now. Do you know, I mean, I'm being serious. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you find that person like, Marissa, Pete's wife, like, you know,
she's beautiful.
She's amazing. Like, she's just a beautiful soul. Like, I love that person, not because she's my boss's wife, but because she's just like, I'm probably tearing up a bit now, but she's just an incredible human. She's done a lot for me as a friend. Like that words can't put into. Her and her sister joke about how many. Her and my sister joke about how many times Dim contacted you today. Like how many times have I contacted them both?
I love it.
Like before I started, you know how I was on the phone. I was on the phone to Marissa.
Yeah,
like
nice.
we talk so much, and I love that woman because she's not just she's like my second sister.
Yeah.
So you find those people that have got it. Like the next stage now of my life as we look into it, like I turned 30 in a couple of weeks. I'm doing a bit of a really family-friendly small event. Yeah. Very small event. Nothing over the top, which I've got to send you the details for.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I better be coming.
You are coming.
Yeah, okay, good.
I genuinely organised it like last week.
Okay.
But like I want you to be there. And I go to Greece for 3.5 weeks. Like I'm becoming a godfather in Greece, which is one of the main reasons why I'm going. Now, the baptism's not till next year.
Okay.
But me being the old soul that I am, I can't go over next year and wait to meet the baby.
Oh, God, no.
I need to go this year.
Of course.
I need to go and see this baby.
I mean, come on, get out of this weather, of course.
I need to go and see the baby. So everyone knows, like, I'm becoming a godfather. Like, for me, that's the greatest honour someone can bestow on you.
Absolutely.
Like, for me, that's just amazing. So that's what that goes into. Go to Greece, meet my little baby godson. I can't wait. He's just gorgeous. Go and see him, spend time with him, spend time with my family, reassess, go back to the roots of where my grandparents came from, get entrenched in that again, and then come back with this drive of continuing to grow the podcast. And so many things have come out of this podcast, like the MCing gigs now that are starting to come up, the charity auctions, so many amazing things that this platform has allowed me to do, meet people like you. So, and I'm not saying that like taking the piss, like I'm being genuine, like people that are like, hey, I never knew that we had such an incredible value system. Like I remember seeing you 3 years ago having a drink down at Oakley, and I was like, oh, this chick's cool.
Yeah.
But never thought anything more of it.
Never.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we didn't even know that we got so much in common. So, I'll continue to grow this podcast as much as we can, continue to give people a helping hand where needed, and just grow it to a nice point of view where the real people will continue to follow and love what we do. And anybody that has an opinion about it, I'm not being rude, but I just don't care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, the one thing about the mental health space, because there's, as I said before, there's so many areas that we can look at. There's like, you know, there's mountains of things that we can talk about. There's like trauma, there's this, there's that. But the one thing to kind of get a bit of a quick assessment of where are you at, and I recommend this to people just to kind of go, what area am I really struggling with, is to look at the wellness wheel. Have you heard of the wellness wheel?
No, I haven't, actually.
Okay. So the wellness wheel kind of sums things up really quickly, right? So it goes, there's different pillars to it. There can be like seven pillars of the wheel. As you know, I go by the 5 because I think it's just easier and more concise. So I wanted to see just the last few minutes to go quickly through 100%. Go through this wellness wheel and see where you're at with everything. So first one is, let's say, intellectual. You said before you're wanting to always grow and be bigger and better. So where would you say you're at now? Like just in a sense of how do you feel that's fulfilled in your life? Intellectual.
Intellectually is actually good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I'm very, very curious about things.
Yes.
So, and everyone laughs at me, but I'm a massive YouTuber. So if I don't know how to do something, I want to like learn it on YouTube. I mean, I'm not talking, I'm going to go put on tools and build a cubby house. I'm no good at that stuff, but I'm talking like, and lately I'm into my cooking.
What are you cooking? What's the best thing you've cooked?
Look, I'm trying to get to a beef Wellington stage.
Oof.
I've never had one before, but I've seen Gordon Ramsay do it. So,
and are you watching Gordon Ramsay videos?
Heaps,
okay.
but also TikTok, Jamie Oliver. So like Sunday night, we've got a family coming around. Mum's doing lasagna. I'm doing chicken pesto pasta. Like, so I like the cook. And again, that might not sound like much, but I'm starting off a very, very, very small base.
Yeah.
So I'm growing.
Can you let me know when this beef Wellington is ready to go?
I'll let you know. We'll bring some
coming. I'm
100%.
coming.
No, yeah. So at the moment, it's my cooking space.
Okay. All right. So intellectually, you're always on it, right? You're constantly wanting to grow. Okay. Next is spiritual. And we know, like, you know.
My faith is my everything.
Your faith is your everything. So what do you do to practice spirituality?
I try and pray every night.
Yeah.
If not, if I'm just exhausted and my eyes are shutting, I'll be honest and, you know, I'll just do my cross. But, you know, for me, my faith's my everything.
Yeah.
I know I went and saw this Greek singer the other day that came to the Oakley Church, and funnily enough, so he's quite a big star in Greece. His name was Nikos Ikonomopoulos, and he actually came to the church, which was like a little
surname again.
Ikonomopoulos. Yeah, nice. And he's an absolute rooster.
Yeah.
And as he said, like, don't forget about Christ. So, like, which in Greek was Mixekhaste to Christo. Like, for me, I just found that very powerful. Yeah. So, I love my faith. I love everything it offers. I don't even shy away from it.
I love that.
I never say never to becoming a priest down the track.
Oh, wow. Really?
I mean, I never say never.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
God, you'd be a killer. I'd come to you.
Yeah,
I'd confess my sins to you.
I never say, I'm not, look, there's probably a good chance it won't happen, but if the time ever came, and I'm talking ideally, and I'm being very honest, like, I'm talking ideally mid-50s, so, you know, and I've been able to sort of set myself up, and then that next stage of my life, you know, 55 onwards, I'd never say never, so I love my faith.
So I'm Coptic Orthodox, right? So, but can I ask in the Greek Orthodox, because I'm sure we're all pretty similar, do priests get married?
So I think you can, I'll be honest, I've got to still work it out.
Oh, okay.
I think if you get married and then become a priest, it's okay. Or if you're just the lower, I think, or I could be wrong, if you're the lower ranking, like the lowest ranking, not the lowest ranking, but if you're just a priest, I think you can still get married, but then you can't go higher.
Right. So okay. So there's a system here. There's a process.
There's a sort of like a hierarchy.
Okay.
So, So I never say never to that down the track.
Okay. While we're here, how's your love life going?
Love life? Definitely horrible. No, I wouldn't say horrible. It's like I go in stages.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You single?
Well, I'm coming with 2 children, so
it's fine. Like mum's always not mum's always on to me, but we talk about it with like, I don't know, me and my closest mates. Like, we're at the moment, we're all in that bubble, but I don't put myself out there as I won't go out to a nightclub or a bar or a club or that's just not me. I love dinner and home. You know, I might do the odd Hinge or the Bumble or the Tinder. Or the Instagram message, but I probably want to ideally. I love the idea of meeting someone. I love that idea. But there's just a few boxes I need to tick off first in my own journey that I know subconsciously.
Yeah. Okay.
Good answer?
It is a great answer, but I would love, this is a whole new podcast, like your love life, because I would love to understand.
Didn't answer the question if you want to go for dinner.
I would love to go out for dinner with you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's like a date or like friend zone style?
Well, no. Well, we could sit here with the snowballs and the wafers after.
Just confirming it's a date, not a friend zone.
All right, let's go next. Yeah. So, occupation, I mean, this seems to be a space that you're excelling in.
Work-wise?
Work-wise, yeah.
I love my job. Like, there's two people there. I mean, I started under Chris Hassel, we've had on the podcast, and I still love him to this day. But for me, in addition to that, and then coming to obviously Buxton Oakley 4 years ago and working under Pete for a period of time before sort of going out on my own like I am now. Pete's my brother. Pete is...
You can feel that as well in your interactions.
I was out for dinner. Like I was actually out, having dinner in his house last night. Like Pete's my older brother I've never had. Like he's just amazing. Him and his wife, what they've done for me personally, not just financially helped, as in allowed me to buy my first apartment and stuff, but, obviously through work. But he's just... I love the guy. He's everything to me. So there's no question about that. And it's a mutual respect. It's a funny thing. Obviously we've got an age gap of 10, 15 years, whatever it is. We're just like two peas in a pod. So I love the guy.
Yeah. You really are an old soul. Like I know you've labeled yourself that a few times, but the more I get to know you, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. You definitely don't act your age at all. So that probably makes sense why.
Yeah, I get on with older people.
Yeah, that's right. That's that's why we could possibly go out on a date sometime soon.
Mum, Sherien's coming for dinner.
Hi, Mum. All right. So your social life is a big one. You're such a, oh my God.
I'm sort of always out and about. Like Rosanna from the office is always like having a crack at me for going out for dinner the way that as much as I do. I love going out for dinner. I love eating outside of home, unless it's on a Sunday night and the family all gets together.
Yeah.
Give me those dinners every day of the week. No restaurant could ever do it for me.
Yeah.
But I'm also the type that socially I can go and eat a La Porchetta and then I can still go to Nobu the same day. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't care. I love the experiences of both.
Yeah. So it's about more the social gathering. Yeah, it's who you're with. Yeah.
But I also I'll go to a restaurant. There's a restaurant around the corner from me at home and it's always quiet.
Yeah.
But I'll go there at 8 o'clock at night. There'll be no one else in there. It'll just be me. I'll go and eat by myself.
And there's nobody there because the food's crap?
Look, I don't know about that, but I don't know. I like it because it's quick.
Oh, right, okay. Because you're the only one in there.
100%. There's no but I love it because of that.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I just don't judge that. And socially, socially is good. I mean, there's always times where, of course, if you feel a bit more anxious or whatever, you want to retreat.
Mm-hmm.
But in this job, you have to be social.
Yeah, of course.
And
you got natural gift of the gab. Like you just can,
I just like it. Like, I mean, I love going down. But there's a lot of times, like, it could be Vanilla, it could be Melissa. Like, on a Sunday afternoon, if I'm sitting at home by myself, hypothetically, I'll take myself out for a coffee to these places and sit. Like, I'll rather than getting a takeaway going back home, like, why?
You enjoy your own company.
I'll catch up on my social media. I'll catch up on emails. I'll do whatever it's got to be done. Obviously, now with the podcast, there's a lot more posting, so I'll schedule my posts and all that type of stuff. So, but I'll go and sit at these cafes by myself. Like, I don't really, and around here, being honest with you, Vanilla or Melissa are my go-to.
Yeah.
So,
and are you a book reader?
Nah.
No, why not?
Oh, I find it so boring.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
I don't know how people read books.
Oh, it's actually quite therapeutic.
Yeah.
Not that I do it often, but I don't think till I'm 40 years old and I still don't think I've finished a whole book.
Just give me a YouTube video.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Like anything on YouTube I watch. Like I just watch the most random things. Yeah, at the moment it's cooking. It's past WWE episodes from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
like just random stuff. But then I love... I'll put in like Dubai. I'll put in like Iceland. I'll put in random countries just to find out how they are.
Yeah.
I do the different like faith stuff, listen to just nice hymns. Like as I'm sleeping, I'll just put on like a nice Byzantine chant.
Yeah.
Anything.
Love it.
Anything, yeah. Not really real estate stuff, ever.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're kind of in the game. I mean, you're constantly.
Yeah, but now never. Like I'll rarely, I love my YouTube.
Well, you just mentioned WWE a second ago, so let's talk about physical because that's the next part of the wellness wheel, right?
Horrible.
What are you doing? Because I think mental health and physical health is so important, right? Like it actually does work hand in hand, right? Because let's go physically. When we're like this, when we're like putting our shoulders down, and we're physically, it actually makes us feel more shit. When you're working out and your shoulders are back and you're like doing whatever it is that you do, you walk or you're on a treadmill, I don't know, whatever it is, you physically feel better, which automatically makes your mental health in a better place. So physically, where are you at?
If there was a scale from 0 to 10, I'm at a 1.
Why is that?
I go through phases as a person. I'm like, sometimes I go all in and then I just get busy being busy and then I forget about it. I'm not even forget about it. I just go for the easy options. Might be a pizza on the way home or it might be,
Is it an easy option? Because you can get like these, really amazing, well put together meals from Coles for about $12. So
at the moment I'm on the shakes.
Oh, yeah.
I actually really enjoy the shakes. They're nice. They're not actually enjoyable. It's the man shake. So if you're looking for a plug, feel free. The man shake, at the moment I'm on the man shake. So I made the decision about, oh, really?
I've had the lady shake. Yeah, it does work.
My mum got me onto them. She's like, honey, that look?
Unconditional love.
It's that look.
She doesn't even need to say anything.
Either side. And enough was said. So, yes, I'm on the handshake. Look, I've been a bit inconsistent because I've been over these 30th and whatnot and let loose a little bit. But, we're back on the man shakes. So we're starting with the man shakes, build up slowly.
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
Can I just say one thing? This is one thing that I've learned about habits and changing habits because...
Takes 21 days.
No.
28.
No, it's about breaking pattern. So you finish work. You're on your way home going, oh, my God, I'm so hungry. So easy just to get a pizza. There's a pizza shop, 2 doors down.
And you get it straight away.
That's it. There's no one there. It's going to be like this, right? The pattern is, so you acknowledge the pattern of what you usually do, and it's about just once breaking the pattern. So when you go from going, oh, I wouldn't mind a pizza, so you start craving the pizza, right? You have to break that. So it's like literally putting a clip on that thread, right? So you're going, okay, you know what? I'm going to put chewy in my mouth, right? I'm going to have a chewy right now because it's going to change that thought process, right? The more that you do that small move, because then you can go get your pizza, but the more that you just stop that, so you get it at that point, you begin to change a habit. Like this is called neuro associative conditioning, where this is how you actually change human habits, like human behavior. Yeah. So you change the pattern, and there also has to be like a really strong desire of why you want it. It's called leverage. So you're really leveraging what you want. So let's say you really want to feel good you're going to Greece. You really want to walk down the beach and go, I feel amazing, right? So you hold on to that thought. That's like your primary thought. You get the pattern. So going to the empty restaurant, nobody's there. It's going to be quick. You know the pattern. You start craving the pizza. So when the craving comes in, you stop it there. Where the pizza craving comes in, you break the habit where it could just be, like I said, put chewy in your mouth, have something really quick and easy that is going to change the pattern. And then you actually make a subconscious thought on what am I doing next? Because I've now made the choice and made the effort to break the pattern. You still want to go get your pizza? Go get your pizza. Like, it's fine.
I feel like pizza now.
Right. Right. But then, the more that you do it, you actually will change habits. But that's there's a whole lot more to that. But
genuinely turned me off a pizza right now.
Good. Can you tell me how you go with that?
Yeah, so our first date will probably be Japanese or something.
Yeah, I know. With some chewy on the way.
Guys, I can't thank Sherien enough for coming on and being part of this, and a bit of a difference. It's a bit of I guess you could almost call it a social experiment, sort of. But it's not really. It's just changing the tables. So she'll be back on. Because she's got a story of her own, which we want to dive into. So I can't thank her enough for coming on and wanting to do this, because you've been driving it and you've been a star, and I've gained a great friend as well. So a massive thanks again to our sponsors and everybody that continues to get involved with what we do. They're all across the banner there. Any questions, feel free to let me know. But continue to subscribe, like, rate, comment, show us plenty of love, slide into DMs. Any ideas about who you want to have on, let me know, and we'll continue to grow. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Kisses to all.
Bye. And you are the GOAT.
You're the GOAT. See you at dinner.